Another working day in the glamorous life of Click. Travel to work, travel to work, travel to work, still not at work, travel to work. Yes, I'm at work. And just time for a spot of porridge and a nice sit down before it's time to go home again. This week, Click goes walkabouts to explore the phenomenon of life logging. But just how much of your life and your friends do you want everyone else to see? A view of the world like no other will bring you the secrets behind these amazing pictures. Opening the door to a smarter abode, we have the latest on the automated home. There's all that, plus the latest tech news, and if you've ever thought your social life was a soap opera, we'll show you how to turn your Facebook feed into a TV show in Webscape. Welcome to Click. I'm Spencer Kelly. The always-on society. It's a future feared by those of us who prefer to keep our private lives, well, private. Now, at the moment, we can choose what we share online, but if the niche trend of life logging catches on, well, there'll be more of us to see than any of us expected. LJ Rich walks us through the phenomenon and the implications it has for us all.
Unless you're naturally talented or well practiced, memory is fleeting. Perhaps that's why we love to record our favourite moments for posterity.
So this is my first ever photo walk, and behind me 700 people are getting ready to walk around Austin and take pictures, not just of Austin, but of each other. And then everyone shares the photographs afterwards. You would not believe how many people are taking photographs of me right now. I'm looking forward to this.
Now, I'm used to being on camera, but it certainly feels very different knowing my picture could be taken all the time by anyone. Even though this is always the case in public spaces. So why does it feel strange? After all, my smartphone knows where I live, Facebook knows what I like, and there's a whole host of pictures and statuses I'm happy to share online with people I don't know. But there are those who've gone even further, sharing themselves, warts and all, and I'm not just talking about lovers' tiffs online. These super sharers upload time-lapse short films exploring how they've aged, or the places they've visited and danced in, as well as some things the rest of us would rather keep private. That's Josh Harris, who a decade or so ago recorded his entire life for online viewers to see and comment on. So life logging, or life casting, has been around for a while.
I don't want to be treated like that, ever. No!
But life casting in the past traditionally involves doing this. So what happens when we start doing this? With my camera projecting outwards, it's recording my point of view, and that could include you.
And life logging becomes even easier when you go hands-free. Say, OK Glass, take a picture while wearing Google's soon-to-be-released specs and instantaneously add a memory to your increasing collection. Now, don't freak out yet. Remember, you probably take pictures all the time with other people in them, like this lot. And Trey Ratcliffe, the fellow behind the flash mob, is predictably very relaxed about all this overexposure.
We're all going to take more and more photos and share more and more, because that's how we communicate with each other. It's unstoppable. And in essence, why complain about it? Why not adapt your lifestyle to deal with it? The problem isn't technology, because technology grows on its own. It's its own beast. The problem is probably our attitudes.
The life logging phenomenon is growing, and these days it has some serious backing, as Swedish startup Momoto found. Their Kickstarter campaign raised 11 times its target. The device automatically takes a picture every 30 seconds. It's a wearable tiny camera with GPS and an accelerometer built in. $280 might seem a little steep for a 5-megapixel gadget, but it comes with cloud software that helps you organise those 2,000 daily pics. The app it comes with shows the photos sorted into scenes. Pictures are grouped into moments by detecting light differences in the photos. Moments are mini time-lapse videos of what you've been up to in each location.
This device I'm wearing now is just a prototype, of course, with a much cooler form factor than this. This is like transparent and so it'll be in different colors and everything. Well, there's a lot to tell about privacy and integrity, of course, and we've been really focused in designing a product and a service that is not intrusive and that is complying to both the user's integrity and the people around the user, in that sense that it's designed like this, pretty visible for people opposite of me, and that person can at any time ask me to take it off or ask me what it is, and it's not as it's not invisible, not a spy camera in a sense. So we've really been trying to implement that in the design of it.
Yes, the notion of recording your viewpoint throws up an interesting side effect. If you're not in the picture, other people are. Not so good if you're camera shy. And mixing automatic facial recognition with ever faster computing power makes for a possible future devoid of anonymity.
So we're now at a moment when mass observation is a global phenomenon, and we are recording aspects of our lives for each other. And God knows what the next generation of historians will be able to do with the sheer number of pieces of data we've collected through live blogging and these other phenomena. We've seen our culture become more exhibitionistic, but we're also seeing people become more uncomfortable with too much information society. And I think that's the tensions we're going to see playing out over the next decade.
Meanwhile, the photo walk is at an end. Batteries are empty and memory cards are full. Time to upload, post-produce, and most importantly, share those pictures. The shots are labelled with hashtags. People also get tagged. Here in Google+, I just have to approve them. There we go. Both social tagging and interest in devices like the Momoto camera shows that for some of us, it's no longer enough to merely record our memories. We need to make sense of them and share them too. But tagging and organising our lives publicly makes for a powerful and searchable database ripe for plundering. And life-logging's inexorable rise also presents us with a decision to make. Do we integrate it into our online life, or untag ourselves in an attempt to dampen our web presence? Regardless, total digital recall has arrived, a stark contrast to our fleeting analogue memory.
LJ Rich. And as LJ says, this idea of logging the world from your point of view has been around for a little while, but it might just catch on now the technology is small enough to actually be wearable. The question is it something that you would do? And is it something that you would mind being done to you? Let us know. Email click@bbc.co.uk. You can even send us a link to a video that you've made. We might use it on a future programme. OK, next up, this week's tech news. Fair trade officials in Taiwan are investigating reports that Samsung hired students to post negative comments about rival smartphone maker HTC. Samsung's Taiwanese Facebook page described the incident as unfortunate and said it would stop using anonymous comments as part of its marketing drive. Twitter has unveiled a new music recommendation app called #Music. What else? It analyses tweets and finds songs by artists that you follow on Twitter, and it'll initially be launched for Apple devices and PCs in the US, UK, Ireland, Australia and New Zealand. Previews of tracks are served up through iTunes, or you can stream them in full through a Spotify or Rdio account. Google's released more details of its Project Glass, the smart augmented reality specs it's developing for release later this year. It's told app developers that they won't be allowed to either charge for or serve up adverts to users on the device's tiny display. The voice-activated eyewear won't come with earbuds or headphones, but instead a bone conduction transducer will deliver sound waves through the user's cheekbones and into the inner ear. Less incredibly, it will take 5-megapixel snaps and 720p HD video. Facebook has rolled out chat heads to Apple mobile devices. The feature, which allows you to continue chatting to friends while enjoying any part of Facebook, has been available on Android gadgets for a few weeks. But due to Apple's inbuilt software restrictions, the iOS version won't let you take your Facebook chatting heads outside of the Facebook app itself or have it active while you use other apps. E-reader maker Kobo has launched a high-definition e-ink display. The Aura HD boasts a higher resolution than its main rivals, and it's geared towards magazine readers, offering more crisp and clear pictures on its 6.8-inch screen. Whether we need such a high-res display is, of course, another question entirely. And finally, Leap Motion is making what will be a landmark jump for gesture control on computers. The startup has announced a deal to embed its technology within machines made by HP. Right now, it's a standalone controller able to accurately detect all 10 of your fingers' movements at once, allowing for intricate gesture-based controls. Now, there's always a ton of stuff happening online and in the tech world in general, and it can be a struggle to keep on top of it all. And that's why we thought we'd help out and show you this. So, take Google's Street View, the eye-level view of the world, and mash it up with a particular photographic technique, and this is what you get. It's basically a time-lapse technique combined with sweeping camera moves and usually focused on a point of interest. This particular one's been created using the JavaScript programming language at Tihan Lax, a creative outfit based in Canada. And they've used Google's Street View as their material. Now, usually this is a painstaking process which takes a lot of precision and hour upon hour of stitching images together. But by using Street View, the Tihan Lax crew have developed an easy-to-use interface and engine that means now any of us can create our own hyperlapse. And it's quite stunning to boot. Fantastic stuff. And if you've seen anything like that you think we should share with the rest of the world, then email it through. click@bbc.co.uk. Every year in technology promises to be important in one way or another. And we said back in January that 2013 could well be the year when the idea of the Internet of Things finally starts to gain ground. Now, this is the concept that household objects can go online and communicate with us and each other. And it opens the door to many possibilities, including that of opening the door. Ian Hardy has been finding out whether the age-old idea of home automation is finally coming online.
It was almost inevitable right from the start. Movies, comic strips and novels have predicted it forever. Now everyday devices that we find around the home are one by one becoming plugged in, hooked up and often fully automated. Even the potted plant in the corner wants to get in on the action.
It's a Bluetooth smart low energy plant sensor. And what it does is it senses 4 different areas within a garden, either indoors or outdoors. It'll sense sunlight, it'll sense temperature, moisture in the soil, as well as fertilizer in the soil. And it will take a reading of those 4 sensors every 15 minutes, and it will send via Bluetooth low energy back to your smart device, whether it be your tablet, your smartphone, etc.
Green thumbs are no longer needed because the readings can be used in conjunction with a database of 6,000 common plants to ensure yours receives the best treatment. But how do we know this sort of device will become part of our everyday lives? After all, people have been talking about and demonstrating would-be connected products in the living room, kitchen and elsewhere for decades. There's one object at the centre of this new mini revolution in home automation, which means that as a concept it may stick around this time. The object? A smartphone, ideally suited to bridging the gap between humans and appliances. Take the ordinary household bulb. Increasingly they can be controlled from the comfort of your armchair.
The Bluetooth light bulb is great because there are billions of smartphones out there with Bluetooth built in that are capable of controlling the light bulb. You can have multiple light bulbs in your house and multiple users of the light bulbs, and they can all control the light bulb from their phone, dimming it, changing its color. The great thing is that it's something that's built into everybody's phone. You don't need anything special other than the light bulb. You plug it in, connect to it, and off you go.
Bluetooth is not the only method of communication that gadgets can use. Z-Wave technology can blanket an entire home with radio frequency signals.
So the ability to control lights, appliances, locks, basically anything that you would normally handle individually in your home can be controlled by Z-Wave. And the technology is very strong because it's a mesh network, and the more devices you have in the home, the stronger the mesh.
Z-Wave is an improvement on the older X10 system, which can be slower and more unstable. But one drawback of the Z-Wave experience is that its gadgets are not internationally compatible because the RF frequency used by the system differs slightly around the world. That's one of the reasons why a Wi-Fi route might be a better option. Belkin International thinks so. It's developed a whole line of products under the brand Wemo, including a power socket that can be manipulated remotely to turn on or off any electronic device plugged into it. There's also a baby monitor that can be heard by mummy across the hall or daddy across the globe.
Wi-Fi is in most households today. The user experience with a Wi-Fi product is really simple. You plug it in, you hook it up to the network, and then you're good. You don't have to do anything more. You don't have to install a bridge product and then have another product talking to that bridge product, and then that bridge product talks to the internet. We just plug our products in, and 2 minutes later, we've got the product working on the internet on your home network.
With all of these Wi-Fi items in your house, you might start to worry about bandwidth. Don't worry, says Matt Rogers, the co-creator of the self-learning, always connected Nest thermostat.
So most of these products don't use a lot of bandwidth. They can be very infrequently, bytes at a time. It's not a lot. I mean, it's nowhere near as like streaming video. If you could stream video at home, you could use any of these products.
But whilst your home network might be able to cope easily with the extra data traffic whilst it's up and running, what happens if your network goes down completely? Maybe controlling your entire home full of gadgets from afar suddenly seems a little less appealing.
Ian Hardy bringing us all back down to earth with that final thought. OK, next up it's time for the very best bits of the web and top mobile apps of the week. Here comes Kate Russell with Webscape.
On the 25th of April, there will be a partial lunar eclipse visible in parts of Europe, Africa, Asia and Australia. It won't be as dramatic as a full eclipse, only about 2% of the moon will pass through the shadow of the Earth. You can find out more at Moon Giant, an excellent resource for anyone interested in lunar activity, as well as eclipse calendars and explanations about lunar phases or phenomena such as the blue moon. An animation on the homepage shows the moon's position at any day and time in the past, present or future.
Moon River and me.
If it's too cloudy where you are to see the eclipse, you could always try searching for clips of the event online. Google has released a really nice site that steps you through the history and basic mechanics of how the modern web becomes searchable so that anyone can understand it. One thing Google isn't short of are blogs. Blogs about cats, blogs about boats, there are even blogs about blogging. Tumblr is among the most popular platforms. It hosts 90 million blogs that generate more than 89 million new posts every day. But no matter how brilliant those posts are, many tens of thousands of them will never be read. That's something Glypho wants to fix, with a publishing platform entwined with a social environment to take the strain out of promoting your posts. As well as letting you build an internal network in all the usual ways, the platform has deep integration with all of the leading social networks, which makes sharing your content one click simple. It's a nice interface too, for both browsing and creating, with a hassle-free setup that involves no themes or plugins. I've also been very impressed by how engaged the site creators are with feedback, and with smartphone apps apparently in the pipeline too, this is a fledgling social space to watch. With so many social connections, it can be hard keeping up. So, socialstudios.tv has come up with a novel idea: your own personalised news roundup of your Facebook events.
I'm Noah Tishby. Welcome to your show.
After authorising, the app goes off and populates your TV show with all the favourite status updates from your timeline and any birthdays your friends have got coming up, complete with their celebrity birth twins.
It's the moment we've been waiting for. Which one of your friends is the funniest, the most interesting, or just the most popular? Let's check it out.
I love the way it turns your friend's status popularity into an Oscars-style nomination reveal. It's presented as classic American pop culture TV and is a really fun way to catch up with Facebook essentials in the last 5 minutes of your lunch break.
That's the end of this edition of Your Show. I'm Noah Tishby. Join me again tomorrow for all the social news that's important to you. Bye.
What is Bitcoin?
If you've been intrigued recently by all the talk about online currency Bitcoin and want to know what the blazes it's all about, point your browser at weusecoins.com, where you'll find a really simple guide to understanding this disruptive global finance technology.
You can use them in every country, your account cannot be frozen, and there are no prerequisites or arbitrary limits.
Thanks for all you've done.
And LJ looked at a camera that digitally records your life earlier. But what happens to all your online assets when you're dead? It's something Google has been pondering, and last week released an inactive account manager feature dubbed Google Afterlife on the social web that lets you bequeath the data from Google accounts such as Blogger, Drive, Gmail, Google+, Picasa and YouTube to someone you trust after you're gone.
Thank you, Kate. And those links are all available, as usual, at our website, bbc.co.uk/click. Please do feel free to get in touch about anything that you've seen today. You can email click@bbc.co.uk. You can tweet us at bbcclick, and you'll also find us on Facebook and Google+. But that is it for now. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next time.